Hello, my sexy and beautiful people of the internet. My name is Diego, also known as the Chilean Retro Gamer. And here I am to record probably the most important video of the year for me. This is a mega update. As a matter of fact, I will put that in the title so you get an idea of how important this video is. Because there are many things to discuss, many things to talk about. And actually this video I should have done it around 3 weeks or a month ago even. First of all, I want to thank all the people that showed some sort of concern about the situation that has been going on and still is going on in my country, Chile. Probably many of you read papers or saw the news and you saw how chaotic the situation was. And it was very chaotic at some point, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit fearful. For those who don't know, I'll explain it in a second, but I want to thank you very much for all your good wishes, your concern, your preoccupation. But I'm fine, as you can tell. Things are slowly getting better and more calm. The government is taking measures. I'm gonna go into these details in a second, I insist. But yeah, I mean, the most critical part was around a month ago, and we went through that just fine. So thank you again for your concern. And now I'm gonna explain actually what happened, or what is still happening in Chile. Well, here's the thing. I don't know how much international news you guys consume, but it is said that Chile is probably the most stable country in South America, probably the country that is growing the most, economically speaking, macroeconomically speaking, I should say. The problem is that we are getting apparently richer and richer, and apparently that is true. We are getting richer and richer, or the country is getting richer and richer, but the population do not get any of the benefits or any of the results of this growth. Do not get better pensions, better salaries. Everything is more and more expensive every time. Like, we are having a life quality like in Europe, but people do not make the same money as any working in Europe. You know what I mean? So there is a huge inequality issue in Chile. We are getting richer and richer, but people are not happy because they are not getting their salaries increased. Their pensions, the pensions are a fucking piece of shit. Even if people have been working their whole life and basically keep saving money for their pensions, it is still a miserable amount of money that they receive every month regardless. So there is no life quality, actual life quality, even though there is apparently a constant growth, again, macroeconomically speaking. Not that we are being lied to, I don't think. But what happens is that the 1% of the population is the richest population in Chile. They keep around 80% of the money. Yes, you heard it right. 1% of the population. In Chile, we are around 17 million people, just to give you an idea. But only 1% of the population keeps around 80% of the gain, the growth, of the money that it is being made year by year. So the richer, or the rich, are getting richer and richer every year, but the poor people, and especially the middle class, probably they are the most affected ones, do not get anything, do not get their salaries increased. Everything is more and more expensive every time. especially people in middle class, are in huge debt for everything. They get in debt using credit cards for buying food, for buying their monthly uh, goods in the supermarket, because everything is too expensive, and it's impossible to afford everything. It's impossible to afford, for example, um, to have a family with 3 kids, send them to school, then send them to university with a bit over minimum wage. The minimum wage in Chile, just to get an idea, is around $380 American dollars. $380, that's nothing. And I think over half of the working population in Chile make the minimum wage or less. Yes, 50%, half of our countrymen, the working class, make around the minimum wage or less. So yes, we are talking about a huge inequality. With these two pieces of information that have been given you, 1% of the richest people in the country keep 80% of the resources, and the other 20% just manage it the way you can, basically. Fuck off. That's the mentality of the big businessmen in Chile. They won't say it out loud, but they think it. They clearly think it. They're getting richer and richer, and the rest can fuck off. Basically that. Besides, everything is so expensive, as I said before. There's a huge difference in between the public education and the private education. Yeah, if you have money, you can pay for the best schools, for the best teachers. Health is the same. If you have money, you can have access to the best doctors, the best clinics. But if you are poor or middle class, you have to go to a public hospital full of people. If you have an emergency, you have to wait 14, 15 hours until a doctor can see you. Shitty quality. So there is a huge inequality not only in how the money is being distributed, or how much each worker is being paid, but also the services are a piece of shit. All of this triggered basically because they kept increasing the cost of the subway tickets. They already raised the prices a few months ago, and they did it again. Yeah, a few cents, but still people got really angry. And all of these protests, many of them, were started by secondary students that probably didn't get affected at all by this increase in the fares. But they were tired of seeing their parents suffering and being pissed off about everything getting more and more expensive every time, and they are getting poor. Because the middle class in Chile is basically poor. There is no such thing as middle class, I think. It's just another way of being poor, because they are constantly in debt. Well, let alone universities and basically all sorts of education after high school. Yeah, it is being said that you can study for free in universities if you are the poorest of the poorest in the country. But again, middle class doesn't get any benefit because they're too rich for the system. But in reality, they're fucking poor. So again, forget about having children in this country, especially if you're not part of the richest. So that's why people got really angry and started to do massive protests. Unfortunately, in the heat of these massive protests, of course, regular delinquency takes the opportunity, takes the advantage of the situation, and anarchists also did their part. Let's be honest. I mean, there was a lot of distraction, especially in the subway stations. Matter of fact, the subway station that is nearby my house hasn't been working. It's been out of order for a month and a half, and probably we will continue a year with that. But yeah, those subway stations were burned. There's been a lot of looting, a lot of stealing, a lot of fires being caused. There is a lot of rumors about the police and the government actually intentionally doing these fires and causing these fires and causing basically not being vigilant enough, so basically the looters can do whatever the fuck they want, which is kind of true in a way. And there is a major criticism to the police basically because they have been violating human rights. And that's not just a subjective statement. I mean, International Amnesty said that they were violating human rights. United Nations said that they were violating human rights, and the police keep denying it. They say it's not systematic. The thing is, 200 people, oh no, near 300 people lost sight of one or the two eyes because of rubber bullets that in reality were not made out of rubber, but they had more solid metals as part of their components. But the police said that they didn't know about that. It was a problem of the provider of the bullets, because they were told the bullets were entirely made of rubber, but they were not made of rubber, or a minor percentage of the bullets were made out of rubber. Yeah, we're talking about this sort of shit. But yeah, there's been part of the discussion. As you know, the government is right-winged in this country, and we have a very clear delimitation between the right wing and the left wing. Not necessarily communism, but you know, they are like socialist and let's say other left-wing parties being involved in the country. So unfortunately, this conflict became too political, mostly about the fucking fascists versus the communists, which is kind of dumb. Again, the massive protests that still happen until today, probably to a lesser extent compared to what it was a month ago. But it's been like happening in every social class, even the higher classes. Some of the higher classes have been part of the protests too, because they think we deserve equality for everybody, because they consider that the demands are valid. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with asking for better things. But unfortunately, some political sectors say that this is all a plan of Venezuela and Cuba to unstabilize the country and take over and make communism be in charge of the country. You know, this stupid delusional plotting, apparent plotting about all of this being orchestrated by the communists. But it's been a completely spontaneous process, guys. Again, because it's been covering all social classes, all political colors have been like involved in this in a way. They do respect and they do agree with the valid demands of the citizens. And the government, it's been like very slowly paying attention to what people say. Unfortunately, at first, the government was all about the violence, like criminalizing the movement, criminalizing every protest as being part of one. And people really got really angry about that. Like, every person that was protesting was being called a criminal, basically, just for the mere sake of protesting. But then the government slowly changed their tone, and they started to separate those that were protesting peacefully and those that were causing trouble. Now the focus is on punishing those who have been causing trouble, which is, I guess, fine, because we need like public peace in order to basically sit down and talk about things. So yeah, that's basically the situation. And again, this started in October 18th, so we are getting near 2 months since the protesting started. Again, with very slow progress, we are going to have a new constitution. Yeah, the constitution that we inherited from the dictatorship in the 70s and 80s finally is going to get replaced by an actual democratic constitution. That's a step. It's not going to change everything. It's not going to make the poor people get richer, but it's a start to start changing some laws that because of the old constitution, they were impossible to change. Structural changes. Probably one of the major demands was probably not only just the prices and the salaries, but the pensions. There's a private system in here about the pensions. So basically you have to give a certain amount of your salary to this private pension administration, and you have to save your money for around 30 or 40 years, depending on how long you work. And then when you retire, you will get, of course, your pension. The problem is that the amount that you save throughout all of your working years is not the same money that you think you are going to make when you retire. And some people basically could not work their entire life to save enough money, so they receive miserable pensions. Just to give you an idea, the most common, or normally, I would say most of the retired people make around $130. $130. Who can live with $130? Especially older people that need to take medications all the time. Yeah, that's another thing. The medications are among the most expensive in the world. Yeah, the medications in Chile are among the most expensive ones in the entire world. So again, to give you an idea, there is people make shit money, but they have to pay fortunes for everything. For health, for education, for medicines. So again, this economic growth is being kind of a lie, because the richest actually perceive all of that, get all of that benefits, all of the resources, all of the money. But the normal people don't. That explains, in a big way, this social protest. So let's see how this progresses, guys. Let's see how this progresses, and hopefully we are going to have a better country in a year or two from now. But the protest isn't over. At least things have calmed down a little. And I think now the priority, and I understand that, is to control the lootings. Again, they're not as massive as they were in the first weekend. The first weekend was really chaotic. And I was kind of scared too, because they were burning the subway stations, they were looting supermarkets, all of them at the same time like crazy. So we were kind of scared for lack of supplies at some point. No kidding. The neighborhood businesses, the corner shops were closing. So that first weekend especially, and the following week, was kind of chaotic. That was full of uncertainties. Then things were starting to get to normal. Unfortunately, though, there were still some looting, especially in downtown. I live away from downtown, so I didn't get affected by that, but still kind of a scary situation. But I think now, at least there is a plan in action. Could be enough or not, it depends, but I think the worst already is gone, it's long gone, which is a good thing. But yeah, we were a little scared because there was even rumors of, people getting into the houses and looting the houses, even with people inside, which wasn't that true. It was basically just looting shops, supermarkets, gas stations, things like that. Again, it was really chaotic at first. I'm sure there were lots of normal, delinquency, drug dealers, anarchists, just taking advantage of the situation, but it was just those first 3 or 4 days that was really, really, really nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie, but we were safe the whole time, and I think now, at least, I think it's necessary to have this sort of scares and you know, this bad time that you might have in order to have something better in the future. So I think it's worth it to have this sort of situation in order to learn from it, and you know, and keep it as a lesson for life, how to deal with this sort of situation again, how not to fuck it up, or how to satisfy people in the way you should as a government or as a businessman that manage resources that go to the people, essentially, in order not to make them angry. I hope everybody learns the lesson, us as normal citizens, and especially those who are in charge. All right, we are moving on to the next topic. Well, the next topic that I've been wanting to talk about, and that's another of the reasons why I didn't upload anything until today, is that, surprisingly enough, or even if it sounds like a contradiction, in the middle of this crisis, a lot of people lost their jobs because companies broke for lack of customers, or because they were vandalized and they were looted, you know, especially minor entrepreneurs, you know, all of that. Lots of people lost their jobs, and fucking sucks. But I'm gonna get a little selfish in this one. I did get a job myself in the middle of all this crisis. I've been actually working all this time as a teacher and doing translations, but always as a freelance. And as you know, as a freelance, not always money is consistent, and I didn't make enough, to be honest, to save money or to buy, you know, lots of things that I would like to, just to pay a couple of debts, and that's about it. But yeah, I've been contacted by a former colleague that I had in my practice job in the logistics company, and well, I applied for the spot, and today I got the call that I've been accepted, even though I kind of knew that that was going to happen, because my friend that is in that company kind of let me know that the boss was okay with me. I was just running this or taking this psychological and physical tests to see if I was apt and ready for this type of job, which is basically in an office. So I'll be working on this customer service thing in a logistics company. Pretty much the same thing I did in my practice job to end my degree of international commerce 2 years ago. I will be doing the same thing, of course, with better payment, and pretty much working under a contract, which is pretty much what I wanted the most. So yeah, good news, awesome news, I would say. And you might say, well, now that this guy is gonna work full time, he's not gonna make videos anymore. On the contrary, my friends, as you know, when I am the busiest, the busier I am, the more productive I become with videos. I mean, there is enough proof of me doing things when I am the busiest, especially when I was studying, and pretty much being all day at campus, and then get home and immediately record. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to recording once and for all. I was actually waiting for this to happen. First of all, I was waiting for the crisis to, you know, the social crisis to decrease a little bit, or to be not as serious as it used to be. It used to be, sorry, a month and a half ago. And I was, well, now that we got this opportunity, because I've been actually like a whole month going to interviews and the medical check and psychological tests. You know, they started around a month ago. So yeah, I've been waiting for these two things to happen together, and then I would be making a video like this to let you know that what's been happening in my country, and also let you know that I got this job and that the videos are gonna go back. Remember, guys, there are two projects that are still pending. One of them is the ROM hack of Donkey Kong Country 2, that is on channel 5, I believe, or channel, I think it's in channel 4, for the Roulette of Sadness. And there is a Mario hack. I think it's in channel 5. I don't remember which hack it is. But yeah, I think there are still 2 projects pending that I want to resume, and I wouldn't say finish before the end of the year, but at least to get as much progress done as I can. About live streaming and other series, I'd rather, wait until next year, until, I can get organized with my scheduling, and also get back to my notes. I usually write down everything that I plan on doing for YouTube. So I want to get back to my notes, my planning notes, and see what's next, how I'm going to organize my shows, in what channels and whatnot. Oh, exactly. But yeah, for the time being, I want to focus the rest of this year on their pending projects, which is pretty much what I did last year when I was basically away from recording for around 2 months. Remember, exactly a year ago, I got my laptop fixed from this fan issue that I had for several months. Well, it's been a year since then. I'm still using the same laptop and it's working fantastic. So I cannot complain, to be honest. It's been working awesome. And so when that happened, I was basically trying to get back to the older projects, or the projects that were still pending during the month of December, and then get back to newer things, or get to record and stream newer things from the following year, from early 2019. The same thing will apply here. Let me focus on finishing these pending projects, probably upload older streams from Capcom vs. Konami on this channel, and of course by next year, a month from now pretty much, start organizing and work on the new things. So yeah, guys, I tried to make this as short as possible. I spent most of the time talking about the situation in my country, but I think it was necessary after a month and a half away from the internet, not saying anything about it, or, well, posting a few things on Facebook and Twitter, but nothing on video, nothing on audio in this case. And of course, to let you know, to tell you the good news, I finally got a job, a stable job, a job with a contract. I'm starting next week, and of course the videos are back as well, and as soon as we can, of course, resume the projects on the secondary channels in this case. Just to let you know, I'm gonna be using this posting feature, the community posting, to link you to the videos on other channels. Okay, so those who are subscribed to this channel, and especially those who see those notifications and see your subscription boxes in your phone, especially, you will see those posts linking you to the videos on other channels. Of course, you have to go to my channel in case you are watching from a computer. You will have to go to the community tab on my channel and see those posts. If not, as usual, as always, social media, Facebook, Twitter, and probably Instagram, I will be adding also for posting the videos and link you to them so you can watch them, and without having the excuse to, or without having to subscribe to every single of the channels if you think it's too much. So either social media or the community posts on this channel, so you can actually take a look at the videos from any of these sources that I'm telling you. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you are excited to watch more and new material from me. So see you then.